everyone. For my paper, I wrote about 3 different quantum brain approaches to consciousness, as well as Bohm's dual aspect approach to mind and matter, which brings in the 3rd category of the implicate order in order to unify the two. One of the approaches was Hameroff and Penrose's orchestrated objective reduction, which occurs as microtubules within neurons orchestrate alternative collective dipole oscillations, which, I quote, entangle, compute, and terminate collapse of the wave function by Penrose objective reduction, OR, end quote. That is from Hameroff in 2021. This process results in sequences of orchestrated objective reductions, which essentially orchestrate conscious moments, as we read about in Carey's book. The second approach was by this brilliant physicist named Henry Stapp, who got invited to work way back in the day with Wolfgang Pauli and Werner Heisenberg and J.A. Wheeler. If you can imagine, how amazing would that be? Awesome. Stapp introduced some very important issues, such as the binding problem, as in, how on earth do you get all of that information slinging around through the neuronal networks to bind together into some sort of cohesive message? Well, Stapp's theory has a lot of components and some important quantum mechanical issues and details, but it basically boils down to a few ideas, one of which is that the calcium ions, the itty-bitty calcium ions, that move into the neurons, prompting the release of neurotransmitters that then cross the synaptic junction, those little calcium ions have to be viewed as quantum particles. They are, which they are. And so quantum particles with a probability function, meaning that they are smeared, yes, he actually used the word smeared, across a large space, adding quantum uncertainty to the neuronal firing. Then Stapp points out that the coupling of hundreds of billions of neurons occurs in a non-linear network fashion, leading to a huge potential of, I quote, metastable reverberating patterns of pulses into which the brain might evolve, end quote. Unless there are any quantum jumps, Stapp writes, the brain will generally evolve quantum mechanically from one stable metastable configuration into a quantum superposition of many metastable configurations. He doesn't seem to say what will cause the quantum superposition to collapse, but it will collapse into a metastable configuration of that network of neurons as a whole brain process that Stapp theorizes can configure a schema of self and world. Go figure. I love it. Stapp got to write a really cool article with Deepak Chopra, no less, and my favorite tidbit from that article is a real twist on the scientific reductionistic materialistic worldview. This little tidbit is that they point out that since particles are really only known as probability distributions, which are not material, a probability distribution is not material, right? But in some sense, these probability distributions are mental or imaginary. Yes, they even use the word imaginary, as if existing in either human minds or a cosmic mind or both. They then conclude that, I quote, both the mind-like and matter-like aspects of nature seem to be essentially mind-like. My favorite theory would be to put all 3 of these theories together so that we can see consciousness in, sort of fractal form of levels of scale here operating in the brain. But my favorite individual theory is John Joe McFadden's theory of the semi-field, CEMI, field of the brain as constituting what gives rise to consciousness. CEMI stands for Conscious Electromagnetic Information Field. So wait, if an electromagnetic field can be conscious, does that mean that all electromagnetic fields are conscious? Or just the one in the brain? This is a big important question to me. After all, energy encodes information, right? The energy waves encode information. Physicist David Tong, a professor at Cambridge University, has made my all-time favorite video by a scientist. It's awesome. YouTube. It's called Quantum Fields, the Real Building Blocks of the Universe. I hope you'll watch it. It's amazing physics. In this video, Tong says, it's T-O-N-G, David Tong, he says that the real building blocks of the universe are quantum fields, which permeate the entire universe, and that even the electromagnetic field, which is a quantum field, it's a combination of the weak form of two different quantum fields. Anyway, even the electromagnetic field permeates a vacuum. So if quantum fields are everywhere, and if one of them can be conscious, is everywhere in the universe conscious? Is the universe conscious? I've skipped most of the quantum details here from my paper, but I would like to close with the more creative parts of this presentation. First, I would like to persuade you that you are already an expert at knowing that quantum fields contain conscious content from other people's conscious energy fields. This is not transpersonal psychology, but maybe it could be that too. I'm going to call this transpersonal conscious quantum field theory. How's that? Are you ready for your quiz that will prove that you already know about transpersonal conscious quantum fields? I guarantee you're going to say yes to at least one of these questions. Okay, here it is. Question 1. Have you ever been at a ball game or a large musical concert in a stadium or a large auditorium, and because everyone there was so excited, you could feel the excitement in the air? Like 99% of people I've ever asked this question, which is a lot of people, have said yes to that. I've only ever had 2 not say yes to these questions, and they were very emotionally shut down, I think. Otherwise, most of us have these experiences and sense this. And that was a rough guess, by the way. Anyway, the 99%. Question 2. Have you ever been in a meeting, whether at work or school or home, or in my case, church meetings sometimes? Have you ever experienced people starting to get into conflict and disagreeing with one another, and then it comes to such a boil that you can literally feel the tension in the air? We even have the old saying that the tension in the air was so thick you could cut it with a knife. So obviously, I think a lot of people have had this sensation, this awareness of these conscious quantum energy fields. Question 3. Have you ever been physically close to someone and they were so angry that you could literally feel the waves of anger just coming off of them? Or alternatively, have you been close to someone and they were anxious and you could literally just feel that anxiety, uncomfortable anxiety feeling around them? I think pretty much most of us have had that. That's the feeling uncomfortable in somebody else's bubble feeling. So question 4. Have you ever been with someone who loves you and you could just feel that loving aura between the two of you? I sure hope you felt that one. So congratulations! If you've answered yes to 3 out of the 4 questions, you are already an expert, or 4 questions, 4 yeses, you are already an expert at transpersonal conscious quantum field theory. You got it. Now, I would like to close by singing a little chant for you, or with you if you choose to join in, as it has been shown that music can sync people's brain waves. I also hope that this chant helps us all to sync together with a sense of love and peace and oneness. So if you will, please close your eyes, breathe deeply, and enjoy syncing up with a little love and peace, and maybe we will be creating one big semi-field of conscious love and peace. After all, David Bohm says that when we listen to music, we experience the implicate order. Let love be my light and my truth. In love I trust, in love I trust. Let love be our light and our peace. In love we are one, in love